Creating a candle that stands out in a crowded market requires creativity and strategic planning. If you want to learn how to create high quality and unique candle labels on a budget, stick around and I'll share my design process to help you generate fresh new ideas for your candles. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Dixie, a visual identity designer. And on this channel, I share branding tips, tricks, resources, and inspiration to help small business owners grow their brands on a budget. In this video, we'll cover what makes a great candle label, and then I'll walk you through my design process using Adobe Express and Design Space. Now, if you don't have a Cricut machine or any die cut machine for that matter, that's totally fine because, well, scissors and a paper cutter have been holding people down for centuries, so I think you'll be good. You'll be fine. Anyway, I feel like I've been talking forever, so let's go ahead and hop into this tutorial. The crucial part of my design process is sourcing inspiration. But before I can get into doing that, I like to think about who it is I'm going to be designing for, and essentially that will be your target audience. In this case, I'm thinking I want the candle to appeal to maybe someone who's a female, 27, living in Brooklyn, probably a graphic designer who likes to shop in artisan markets because she has an appreciation for unique handmade products that fit seamlessly into her home's aesthetic. When searching for inspiration, I came across this image, and to me, it was spot on with the vision that I had for our female. I feel bad calling her female, so we're going to call her Vanessa. To me, when I see this image, I'm thinking this is where Vanessa lives. This is where I want the candle that I'm creating to end up, right? I think that it's really important that you try to visualize the ideal home where you would want your candle to end up. Because when you do that, then you can get a better idea of the overall aesthetic that your candle label should have. And in this case, I'm already thinking that I need it to be very whimsical because this room is very whimsical. It's very creative, it's inviting, and it also really has a strong sense of individuality and artistic flair. So I would want to incorporate things that I can already tell that she's into. She likes these squiggly lines. This is a very present everywhere in this room. It's here on the placemats, it's here in the candles, it's even here on the wall art. If you pay close attention, you can even see that it's on the edge here of this vase. Also, when it is you look at inspiration, you can also get a sense of a color palette that you can use. For me, I'm probably going to go more so with the purple and the blue because there's already an overwhelming amount of pink in this room. That doesn't necessarily mean that I will be spot on by choosing a purple and blue, but I already have an idea of the scent that my candle is going to have, and that's going to be a bluey blueberry, right? So I think a purple and a blue will work perfectly fine for that. I think it just, and in my mind, I think that it will work perfectly in this room because I mean, seriously, over here, especially over here, because there's like no other kind of colors from over here in this space. So I think that especially if she's shopping for something that's new and that will fit into the aesthetic of her home, maybe she'll be looking for something that has a little color that she's into already to place into that space. If you pay attention to the types of fonts as well that she's using, they're like really fun, they're really bold and literally just in your face. So I will probably want to also incorporate that into the label. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how it is we can incorporate all of these little ideas with the shapes and the typography and see how it is we can incorporate that in Adobe Express to create a label that is unique and one that will stand out. Alrighty, now that we're in Adobe, let's go ahead and create a new canvas. And we will do that by creating a custom size. And today we're going to be working in inches. Now the size of the label that I have is a 3x3. So we're going to do 3x3 inches. And of course, you can always adjust this to match the needs of your own candle. But I have a 12-ounce candle. Actually, no, it's an 11.5-ounce candle. So I think that the 3x3 inch label is going to work great for that. So I'm going to click on Create New File. Okay, so there are a couple of things that we want to add on the label. So of course, we want a logo on there. We will want to have our logo on there. I already created a logo in Adobe, so I'm just going to upload that and place my logo here. I'll just resize it. Okay, I'm gonna move that on up to the top, and just to make sure that I have everything that I want to include on a label readily available, I'm just going to place the things that I need on here before I do any styling. So the next thing we are going to add would be the ingredients. So this is going to be a soy wax candle. I am also going to add the burn time. I'm going to say that it has a 45-hour burn time. Then to copy, you just want to hold on the option, hold and drag to duplicate that. But you can also do, of course, your traditional copy and paste. Then I am going to add the candle's name. We're going to call this Blueberry. And we are also going to give this the scent description. So it's going to be a blueberry and lavender. Make that smaller so it fits. Just make everything smaller so this will fit. Just duplicate that and change that into 11. 11.5 ounces. Alrighty. So we have the ingredients, we have the burn time, we have the candle name, we have a scent description, we have the weight. Okay. Well, Blooms is also called, this is a fictitious candle company called Blooms New York. So I'm also going to add the word New York here. Okay. Okay, now let's just go ahead and organize this so that it reads better. So to the top we have the logo. I'm gonna expand this so that it's a little bigger, but we don't want it to touch the corners. We don't want it to look like this. Okay, that immediately will take away from the design and have it look unprofessional. I'm not saying that there aren't designs that can work when the text is touching the edges, but for this particular design, it's definitely not going to work for me. So we want to be able to give it a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of white space around the logo. Then we're just going to bring the word New York up a little bit. And then we wanted to have the scent description and the name of the candle. This has to be smaller. I'm gonna make it smaller, but I'm also going to change the fonts as well. So I just want to place it where I want things to fall. Okay. I already pre-selected the fonts because I promise you, if I were to select this on here, we will be here forever. So we're gonna do Aesthetic Nova. Aesthetic Nova. Love this. And we're gonna do that for all of the subtext. Just come over here, select that. Okay. Okay, and let's do Bluey Blueberry, and obviously and we're going to do that in super. And already, just by changing the typeface to font, so it's already making a huge difference on how this already feels and looks, like the vibe of this candle. Now the reason as to why I went with something that's like really fun and quirky, because remember from the inspiration from the wall art, she was really into fun and quirky typefaces or fonts. I just wanted to keep that constant, and I went with something very bold and very fun here as well, something that's unique to play on her likes. Okay, so let's go ahead and give these their accurate sizing. Probably bring that down a little bit. Move this down, and these two need to be consistent. So you're 44, you can do you at a 44 too. It's a little big. It's down a little smaller. And this guy is a little too large. Keep that at about a 37 maybe, and bring this down some. Give that a little bit of breathing room. And then we're gonna bring in the illustration. The thing that really stood out was that wavy line from the mirror and from the placemats and from the candles that she already had in her home. So I figured that it would be a great addition to add the wavy line because we already know she likes that. So Let's follow through with consistency with something that we already know will attract her. Let's go ahead and center this. Let's give it a little bit of space here. It's not too close there. Okay, then going to change the color of the fonts that are similar, and that is going to be 06080. Just change that, and Bluey Blueberry. You can literally just click on the eyedropper tool and click on the blue that you want to change it to. Voila, we have that. And now let's change the background color. C9, E1, F4. Okay. Just make sure everything is lined up the way that we want. Double check spelling. That is a huge issue, a huge issue for me. Like, I would think that it looks right, and then I would go back and then realize that I've made a complete mistake with how it is I've spelled something. So I suggest you double, triple, or if you have someone in the room with you, ask them to kind of like double check for you. Because when it is you're staring at something too long, it seems right because you've been looking at it for forever, but the minute you take a step back and then you come back, then that's when it is you realize it. So to avoid the headache, especially if you're sending this out for print and you're choosing not to print it at home for yourself, you don't want to waste money. Okay. Also, do pay attention to the sizing of your fonts. It's really important that your customer will be able to read it. The minute that it's too small, that immediately takes away from how professional it looks. And also, you want to make sure that you're not overcrowding your space. When I say space, I mean the label. You want to make sure you're not overcrowding that label, but packing too much information on there. You also have the option of putting a sticker at the base of your candle or to the back of your candle if that's what it is you so choose. So remember that that's also going to be real estate for you to use to place any other pertinent information that you feel that needs to be on your candle. For right now, keep in mind that this candle is going to be on display. It's more than likely going to be for aesthetics, so we want to keep it looking as clean as possible and without all of the clutter. Okay, so that's it. Like, it was just that easy to create a candle label using Adobe. And in order for us to go ahead and do a print and cut, I'm going to download this in a PNG format, and when I'm done doing that, I'm going to hop on over to Cricut and I'll show you guys how it is I use Cricut to do a print and cut for these labels. We are in Cricut and I've already brought in my label. So as you can see, this is entirely way too big because this is measuring about 5.5, maybe about 5.52 inches by 5.54, and so we don't want that. We want it to read, or want it to be the size that we created it in, which is 3 by 3 inches. So we want to click on this, click on your image, then click on more, And then where it says size, you want to change that to 3x3, but I like to unlock it first and then make my adjustments. So width needs to be 3, height needs to be 3. And we're gonna lock it back. For me, I'm just going to be printing out one label, but for those of you who want to make multiple labels and you know that your paper is measured 8.5 by 11 inches, you would just want to duplicate this. You can get about 6 of these on one sheet. So I will duplicate this until I get about 6 of them on the sheet, so we can do that really quickly so you can see how that will look. And bring that one down just like that, so you'll be able to get your 6 stickers or 6 labels. But I'm just going to be cutting out one for demonstration. You also want to make sure that under operation it says print and then cut, and you also want to make sure you're selecting the type of machine that you have. I'm using the Maker 3, so if you have an Air, make sure that that's what it says. And really simple, all you have to do is just click on make. It will then take you over to your mat. You just want to click on continue, and then it would send it to print. And from there, you want to make sure that you're selecting the right selection on your printer for the type of paper that you have. And because I'm going to be using the laminate sheet over the vinyl sticker sheets, for me, the cardstock, the heavy cardstock 100 pound worked for me and it cut it out seamlessly. So I would suggest, or I would recommend using that setting, but if it doesn't, again, let me know in the comment section below which setting worked better for you, and share it with everybody else so maybe they can try those settings as well. Alrighty, so I'm going to send this over to my Cricut and I'll show you guys how that printed out. Okay guys, before we hop on over to print, I just wanted to show you guys right quick the material that I'm going to be using for the labels. So from Butter Crafts, we have the matte white vinyl sticker sheets. These come with 20 in a pack. So if you're also going to be doing 3x3 labels, that means that you'll be able to get about 6 labels per sheet. So that's 120 labels per packet. But also note that this specific paper is made for inkjet printers. If you don't have an inkjet printer, of course, you can always look up the brand and see whether or not if they do have paper to support your printer. I like using this one because with all the other projects I've done and used this paper, the color pops off of this paper and it gives vibrancy every single time, every time. So I'm faithful. Now, if you do have any recommendations, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section and let me know, and maybe I will try that paper out in my next project. I'm also going to be using these self-laminating sheets from Avery, and I'm going to show you how it is I use this paper in order to make the labels scratch proof. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and hop on over to print. Now that we have our label printed out, let's make it scratch proof. Simply place the self-adhesive laminating sheets over your label, making sure that you are not touching any of the 4 corners. Then you are going to remove the backing and simply use a scraper to place it over the label. Now, if you're using a full sheet, you still want to make sure that you're staying within those 4 corners, because you may have problems when it comes to cutting it out in your Cricut machine. And now our final step, placing our label onto our vessel, making sure that there are no air bubbles, and here we have our final product. Really simple to do using Adobe Express. Now, if no one has ever told you, great things do come in threes, so go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up if you're into this type of content. Alrighty, until next time guys, keep pushing, keep grinding, and happy brand building.